You're watching MRU TV Connected.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Aquino.
And I'm Dominic Harlow-Lawrence. Welcome to Connected. Early this morning, residents of Chelyabinsk, Russia watched in awe and some in terror as a bright ball of light streaked across the morning sky, frighteningly close to the Earth's surface.
A meteor estimated to weigh about 10 tons moving at hypersonic speed shattered into pieces. Hundreds of people were injured. Tim McDonald joins us live from the newsroom with the latest on this story.
Yes, thank you, Dom and Jen. Yes, early this morning in Russia, it was quite a sight to see for drivers early in the morning, about 9 o'clock. Bright light right across the sky, right in front of them, and there was a big sound, just like this. The sonic boom rattled the nearby area as people took to the streets to find out what had just happened. Some wondered if it was a military exercise or possibly even a terrorist attack. The blast was caused by asteroid shattering while entering the lower atmosphere about 30 to 50 kilometers above the surface. The blast caused windows to shatter as well as do some minor damage to buildings in Chelyabinsk. Home to around 1 million people. About 1,000 people were injured. About 43 of those had to be taken to hospital for medical reasons. No deaths were reported in the incident. Some of the shards of the asteroid were found in the nearby town of Cherebarko and left a crater about 26 meters wide. But that's all from the newsroom. Back to you, Dom and Jen, in the newsroom.
An asteroid as large as an Olympic swimming pool brushed past Earth today, close enough to affect the planet's gravitational pull. NASA stated that the asteroid passed the planet by more than 27,000 kilometers, but that's still closer than many communication or weather satellites. The giant rock passed directly over the Earth's Indian Ocean today at about 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and was visible to those in Australia, Asia, and Eastern Europe with the aid of binoculars or a telescope. The European Space Agency says there is no connection between the asteroid and the meteor that exploded in the skies over Russia earlier this morning. Raphael Slawinski teaches an astronomy course at Mount Royal University and explains how the asteroids are tracked.
So these asteroids are basically tracked through telescopes. So there's actually a fairly large international effort to track these near-Earth objects. They're not easy to see because they're quite dark objects. They don't shine with their own light, they just shine with reflected sunlight, and so you're looking for this dark object in the blackness of space.
Child-abusing hockey coach Graham James has had his prison sentence increased from 2 years to 5, following a ruling by the Manitoba Court of Appeal. Last year, James was convicted of sexually abusing NHL star Theoron Fleury and his cousin Todd Holt. Prosecutor Elizabeth Thompson told the appeal court that the trial judge put too much weight on the 3.5-year sentence James received in 1997 for a similar offense. Graham James's lawyer argued the sentencing judge had taken the 15 years between the client's first sentence in 1997 and his subsequent rehabilitation into consideration. Fleury was quick to post on Twitter this morning, saying this is a great day for all survivors. Talked to MRU TV this afternoon and says he is overjoyed by the decision.
It's a fantastic feeling. I remember getting the email from the gentleman in Winnipeg and I instantly cried, right? It's the longer Graham James is off the street, the safer I am, the safer you are, the safer my kids are.
Okay. Holt also said that he hopes by him and his cousin Theoron coming forward and disclosing the abuse, that it will help other victims speak out about the abuse they are getting.
Many students get overwhelmed by the stresses of school. Mental health is a major issue for those in post-secondary. Mount Royal University offers help for students during the busy time of the year.
Stress has different effects on everyone, especially students. Chrissy Wall, an MRU student, knows that firsthand.
Yeah, you know, this week has been really stressful. I've had 2 midterms within 2 days, an essay due, and a quiz today. So I really just can't wait for the week to be over and just have that break and be able to recoup and just get my head around things again.
Jack Dobbs, a counselor at Mount Royal University, discusses that breaks can seriously help the mental health of students.
Some of the stats actually talk about the fall having really high rates. That's why you also have a fall reading break as well. And one of the reasons is it can be high as it relates to potentially for suicide, but it really often talks about the high levels of stress that students experience. Stress, depression, anxiety, just multiple pressures that are mounting up for students who are leading exceptionally busy lives. It's the second leading cause of death among adolescent males, second only to car accidents.
Stress affects everyone. If you're not going away anywhere for Reading Week, you could always come into the Wellness Center located at Mount Royal University in Wing U 216. For MRU TV News, I'm Chloe Capoletto.
An Edmonton woman charged in the death of her 7-year-old son has been suffering with severe depression for 2 years. Florentino Jojoy says his wife Nerlyn Sarmiento was under treatment and medication and loved their son Omar. The autopsy results have not been released, although police have said the boy appeared to have drowned. Sarmiento appeared in court today on a charge of first-degree murder.
A man who killed his 3 children has asked to be moved to a Manitoba psychiatric facility. Child killer Alan Schoenburn says his mother and other family members live in Manitoba, so he has no support in BC to help him reintegrate into the community. Schoenburn was found not criminally responsible by reason of mental disorder in the 2008 murders of his children Caitlin, Max, and Corden. He said he killed them to protect them from an imagined threat of sexual abuse.
Well, I don't know about you, Jen, but I have been loving the weather lately, especially going into Reading Week.
It's been very bright and sunny and warm, so hopefully it stays like that. But Sarah, do you have the weather for us?
Thanks, Jennifer. We are currently sitting at 6 degrees with some sunny breaks and some winds flowing in from the west at 30 kilometers an hour. Looking at the rest of the province, Fort McMurray is -10, Edmonton is -2, Calgary is 6, Medicine Hat is -5, and Lethbridge is 1. Looking at our national outlook, the maritime provinces seem to be pretty even at a range of 0 to -5. Toronto is -2, Montreal is -3. Moving out west, sorry, I'm just moving my chair. Here we go. Winnipeg is -15. Regina and Saskatoon are very chilly, sitting at -17 and -18. And Victoria and Vancouver are at 4 and 7 degrees. Moving in to, so what does this all mean? Basically, there's a low pressure system moving down from the north, which has yet to come to our province, but there will be a dip in temperature as soon as the weekend, followed by snow and rain. So looking at our 3-day outlook, Saturday we can expect a high of -8, or a high of 8, sorry, and a low of -2. Sunday, a high of -1 and a low of -3. Monday is our chilliest day with a high of -6 and a low of -13. That's our connected weather. Back to you guys.
Coming up later in the show, the Science Center has a new exhibit. Winnie Gacke will be here with this and more entertainment news.
The smartphone industry is highly competitive and constantly evolving. Canadian company BlackBerry has been struggling to compete with the iPhone and Android. The BlackBerry Z10, released a couple of weeks ago, is the newest smartphone technology available on the market. BlackBerry has been tight-lipped on the sales, and the question remains whether or not this phone will save the company. Chloe Capoletto has the story.
The future of BlackBerry relies on the BlackBerry Z10. This is the company's first venture into a full touchscreen phone.
New BlackBerry, it's full touchscreen, 4.2-inch screen. It's a little different than the last ones, considering all the last ones had trackpads on them. So it's a little similar to iPhones and Androids with the full touchscreen. They redid the whole keyboard for text messaging and BBM. So on the new one, when you're kind of completing your words, you can kind of swipe up and do the predictive text on that one. A few things with the new enterprise server activation, that when you do set up that enterprise server, your phone will actually split into two phones, and you'll have one business side and one personal side, so you can kind of separate the two.
Neil Jones was a dedicated BlackBerry user, but he found the original phones too fragile. He made the switch many consumers have made, cutting back BlackBerry's profits.
When I had a BlackBerry over 1 year, I went through 5 of them and they kept like smashing and breaking. So I tried to switch over to the iPhone and I haven't broken it once. I had the iPhone for 2 years and now I have the iPhone. I just feel like the iPhone is more solid than the actual BlackBerry, and I never have any problems because it is just like one big touchscreen as opposed to a bunch of little pieces.
2 weeks after the release of the BlackBerry Z10, it is still unclear whether this new phone will save the company and if they can regain the top position they previously held in that market. They're going to release their new BlackBerry Q10 with a keyboard, so we'll see if the sales go up. For MRU TV News, I'm Chloe Capoletto.
The Carnival cruise ship Triumph finally made its way back to land last night, docking in Mobile, Alabama, after being pulled ashore by a tugboat. The cruise ship carrying over 4,000 passengers was left powerless for 5 days, sitting idle in the Gulf of Mexico because of an engine room fire. Passengers rejoiced after disembarking from the crippled cruise liner and are now all returning to their homes and families.
Imagine the world around you being silent. You turn on your car radio, but no sound comes out. You turn on your TV and see the pictures, but you can't hear the dialogue. For people with hearing impairment, there is little that can be done to hear the radio. But in TV, there is something called closed captioning. It doesn't improve the sound, but it does put the words that are being spoken on the screen, so everyone can follow the story. That opens up a world of information and entertainment possibilities for people who struggle to hear anything at all. Will Wilson reports.
This is what it's like to watch TV with a hearing impairment. This is what keeps Celine watching. But she isn't alone. 3.5 million Canadians have hearing impairments.
Without the closed captioning, I would just change the channel, and I've done that many times. If a show doesn't come with closed captioning, next channel, sorry, I can't watch it.
Karen is a trained captioner. She can type more than 250 words a minute. Karen says her job is more than just a job.
Well, I think it provides inclusion for those who are hard of hearing or deaf. Everyone has the right to hear. Everyone has the right to be accessible to information. And so that's where captioning or CART, computer-aided real-time transcription, comes into play.
Every TV has the ability to show what's being said. If the producers of the program or if the network that broadcasts them invests in the captioning.
It's a big impact on my life. I would much rather have closed captioning than not, because it helps me understand, and lip reading on TV is too hard.
But closed captioning isn't just for TV. It can be used at citywide events as well as in a classroom. It can be wirelessly fed to any smartphone and computer. Will Wilson, MRU TV News.
So Dom, Reading Week is actually next week. Do you plan on doing anything?
I do actually. I'm actually going out to Funny for a little vacation, but what about yourself?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but if you want to know what you can do for Reading Week this week, Whitney Gacky actually has more on this inside scoop. So Whitney Gacky?
Thanks, Jennifer and Dominic. Hello, everyone. Here is your entertainment news. Mount Royal hit the big screen this week with the Idle No More event. The MRU Film Student Society, in cooperation with the 7th Generation Indigenous Student Alliance and the Native Students Center, created documentaries to make students aware about this political issue. The movies, The People of Katawapiskak River and The Eighth Fire, screened for the first time to the public. The movies are now accessible online. If you're looking to start your reading break off with a bang, here are a couple options you should consider this weekend. Deerfoot Mall and Global Fest have teamed up to deliver an all-weekend event. It begins tonight with fireworks, but the show continues until Holiday Monday. You can see vendors and cultural performances from Croatian, Mexican, and Indian communities. You can also purchase tickets in advance if you plan on attending the firework competition this summer at Elliston Park. And if you're interested in dance or looking to learn more, the One Touch Hip Hop competition is gracing Calgary for the 6th year in a row. The competition features 3 dance styles: breaking, popping, and locking. The competitor list is full, and some even are waitlisted. If you want to learn some new dance moves, you can go to the Alberta Room at the University of Calgary on Sunday at 1 p.m. So, monsters have invaded Calgary. TELUS Spark, the new science center, is hosting some creatures that you may be familiar with. The exhibition is the work of John Cox, who is an Academy Award winner for Best Visual Effects. The exhibit displays intricate work behind movies like Peter Pan, George of the Jungle, and Inspector Gadget 2. How to Make a Monster, the art and technology of animatronics will be in Calgary until the summer. Promoting artists and redefining culture, a group of Calgarians who support up-and-coming local artists has announced their annual semi-annual fashion show in Calgary. It will be held at the Aerospace Museum. And to do this, they're holding a fashion industry mixer to kick off the season. So, if you're a fashion expert or if you're interested in this industry, this is the event for you. With prizes from designer pieces for their fashion show tickets, this is an event for the avant-garde. The mixer is held at Downtown Food on February 19th. Now, to complete Reading Week, you could check out WineFest. Now, don't worry, this isn't at all a stuffy event. There will be hors d'oeuvres and a selection of different wines in all one room. You can go from Mexican to French in just a couple of steps. It's an opportunity for you to sample some bevies and enjoy yourself before you hit the books. WineFest is in Calgary, February 22nd and 23rd. So that is your entertainment news for Friday, February 15th. I'm Whitney Gacky.
Graduating Mount Royal students can begin the process for nominations for valedictorian. The elected candidate will make a formal speech to their fellow graduates along with faculty and guests attending the convocation ceremony. Potential candidates must be graduating in either June or November. They must have a minimum GPA of 3.2, be a strong public speaker, and have a history of involvement in campus or community activities. Students, staff, and faculty are allowed to nominate an individual for valedictorian. The deadline for nominations is February 28th.
Students at Mount Royal University gathered at Pride Center today to wrap up the school's 3rd annual Pride Week. The week delivered an important and powerful message to the university community. Jess Elvram has the story.
Pride Week is a week to celebrate the gender and sexual orientation of everyone. This week was full of fun events, including live music by Ray Spoon, a transgender singer-songwriter, and an event called Queer Karaoke.
It's important for us to be visible as well. That's sort of how Pride Weeks and Pride Parades sort of began. It was about creating a visibility for queer people, and then bring that to the university. It's a way for the volunteers to be celebrated for a week for the work that they do and connect to the greater community in a more visible way.
With events such as the Valentine's Day Gender Bender featuring live entertainment from drag queens and kings, individuals from the Pride community step forward with confidence to show it's okay to be who you are.
Yeah, coming into the community that was really great, especially coming here to MRU because everyone is so different that it's a lot easier to relate to people.
But Pride Center Administrator Joshua Cadigan Sims says having Pride Week is just a small part of the fight for equality.
And I think here in Canada, because we have marriage laws, because we have equal rights under our Charter of Rights for sexual minorities, we sort of think that the job is done.
Although Pride Week is over, the Pride Center is open all year long. For MRU TV News, I'm Jess Elvram.
Mount Royal student elections are coming up. Voting is a great way to get involved in what's going on around campus. Starting February 24, the candidates will begin campaigning. The main campaigning will take place at Wickham House. You can expect to see walls plastered with posters of your potential new members of the student government. Last year, only 13% of Mount Royal's student population voted this year. Voting begins online February 24th at samru.ca/vote, or you can vote in person from March 4th to the 6th right inside the east and west entrances with your student ID from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Olympic athlete Oscar Pistorius wept in court Friday as prosecutors said they'll be pursuing a charge of premeditated murder against him for killing his model girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp. The man who inspired the world last summer during the London Olympics could spend the rest of his life in prison. Pistorius' family and London-based management issued a statement disputing the murder charge he now faces for killing Steenkamp. The athlete himself initially appeared solemn and collected in his first court appearance, but later sobbed loud enough for his cries to be heard over the more than 100 spectators gathered for the hearing.
So Dom, lately, have you been hearing about the Cougars sports teams lately?
A little bit, not too much. What I did hear is that this weekend, in fact, the men's and women's basketball teams are closing up their season. They have a couple of games left this weekend, and then that's it. They're good to go.
Okay. Well, Mark has more on this, so let's go to Mark Armstrong for more on sports.
Thanks, Jen and Dom. Well, the women's first season in the CIS is coming to an end. It didn't go exactly as planned, with the women struggling throughout the season, but you wouldn't know that by the positive vibe at their last practice this week at Mount Royal. They planned to end this season on a high note. Danielle Deeming went to check it out.
Being an expansion team into the most competitive university league in Canada isn't an easy feat. Cougars coach Joe Evelson wants to end the season on a high note this weekend.
I think the biggest change is definitely the level that you have to compete at for 40 minutes. When we were in the ACAC, obviously our talent level was essentially the same as it was last year. In the ACAC, we could take 2 to 3 to 5 minutes off in a game and be okay and still win, come out and still win by 15. At this level, I think the biggest change has been in those 2 or 3 minute dry spells that we have, all of a sudden you're down 12 and now you're scratching and clawing and trying to fight your way back. So that's probably been the biggest change.
The girls wearing the bright fluorescent clothes won't be back next year. They dress like this for fun at their last practice, even though they say last season wasn't as much fun as they had hoped it would be. The game of dodgeball also helped lighten the mood at the last practice here at Mount Royal. However, many of these players will return to the basketball court with Joe Evelson next year, hoping for a better season.
I've got to recruit CIS talent. We got to get into the gym. We got to work on our deficiencies. We've got to, strengthen our strengths. So again, our off season is going to be quite crucial to our success for 2013-14.
The women hope to take this fun attitude on the road this weekend, where they take on the University of Northern British Columbia. For MRU TV News, I'm Danielle Deeming.
Also in Cougar sports, the men's basketball team will be finishing their season this weekend and are playing tonight at the University of Northern BC. The women's volleyball team hope to continue their postseason success with Game 2 of the playoffs tonight at UBC. In the NHL, the Flames were looking to find some momentum Wednesday night as they faced off against Dallas at the Dome. Hoping to end a 2-game losing streak, the Flames came out really hard. With a flurry out front, Bouwmeester found the puck and the back of the net, putting the Flames on the board early in the first. They would get 2 more before Dallas would find the back of the net. Pass out to Nystrom. He goes low into the left and beats Irving. Now it's only a 2-goal deficit. But the Flames would come right back. Tanguay on the side in the corner. Pass out to Cervenka. He goes top corner. Flames are ahead by 3 again. Early in the second, though, the Flames are on the penalty kill. Dallas passes down low out to Morrow. He goes 5-hole. Back down to a 2-goal deficit. But the Flames would just not be beat tonight. With Camilleri out front, he pots it in the back of the net. That's his second of the evening. It would also not be his last. Late in the third, he's coming down. There's an open net. He fires it in. And that's a hat trick for Camilleri, as well as his 200th career goal. The Flames will win this one 7-4. This is Irving's second win, while starting for Kiprusoff, who is still out on injury. The Flames will also be playing tonight against the St. Louis Blues at the Dome. Irving will be starting again, as Kiprusoff is still out on a knee injury. And that is your sports tonight, and back to you.
A special little furry canine arrived at Calgary International Airport this week to meet some new friends and get to work. Meg, a 7-week-old yellow lab puppy, arrived in town to start her official training as a guide dog. Meg will train under Alberta Guide Dog Services until she is 15 months old. She will be then transferred to her Vancouver division for further training before being placed with a client. Meg will be staying with her volunteer puppy raiser family for the time she is in Calgary. 3 more puppies are arriving this spring and are also in need of families. If you're interested in raising a puppy, please visit their website at www.bcguidedog.com for more information.
So, Jen, do you really have any plans for over the reading week, seeing as how it is next week?
To be honest, I think I'm just going to take this break and just relax because this past few days been working pretty hard in school, so.
It has definitely been a stressful last couple of weeks, that is for
projects.
Sure. I know that I'm in fact going off to Fernie.
That'll
be fun. Take a little
what do you
ski
plan
trip.
on doing there? Skiing?
Well, I don't actually ski or snowboard. In fact, so I will just be lounging around the hot tub most of the time.
That'll be nice. I mean, you could try skiing. You know,
I could try skiing,
lessons.
but I would. I don't really want to break anything.
No?
That's my main worry.
I've always wanted to go skiing or snowboarding, so I mean, you know, be cool.
Excellent. Well, that's all from MRU TV Connected tonight. I'm Dominic Harlow Lawrence.
And I'm Jennifer Aquino.